Hello, my name is Thomas Benook and welcome to my Research in Practice Assessment 2, where I'll be doing a presentation about my chosen pathway to complete in Level 6. I have chosen to do an MIS dissertation for many reasons. The first reason is that I can choose a research topic I am interested in because if it's something I am passionate about, it will fuel me with the motivation I need to complete the highest standard of work. From the information I've acquired from my first 2 years at uni, the MIS, can provide me with the best opportunity to demonstrate the skills I have learnt. I can add a different perspective and provide research into current topic and issues, meaning any data that has maybe not had as much research done to it, I can then provide another alternative research for people to use. It will offer me a better understanding of a possible career path following my graduation, giving me more insights into a chosen interest of mine. It could show potential future employees that I can research and study at a high level also. My chosen topic in question is what is the post-event impact on the local community after a hallmark sports event. Firstly, I love attending sports events and they're my favourite days out. Therefore, I'd love to be able to be part of one or even hold my own in the future. Secondly, hallmark sports events attract large audiences and acquire many resources. Therefore, I'm interested to see how a local community is affected, and that is why I'm focusing on the local community, because this topic encompasses various elements that allow for great analysis. This means I can pull information and data from the social, economical, and environmental effects of the local community after a hallmark sports event. Not only this, I am working with England Touch Rugby to help put on the World Cup in July. Therefore, I can conduct valuable research for my dissertation that engages the local community, and I feel like that will be a great opportunity for me in July to conduct as much research as possible. Moving on to the rationale for the study I have chosen. This research will be relevant to any other organisation wanting to uphold an event on such a large scale and how it would affect the local community in that area. They choose, which then they can use my data to positively and successfully uphold their own event. There are studies about hallmark events and the effects they have, but my research will solely be on the post-event effects on the local community, so it provides a detailed niche insight into the topic. Hallmark sports events impact communities massively, therefore I can analyse the positive and negative effects. Hallmark events don't happen as often, therefore new up-to-date research is possibly needed. Not only this study could provide rich and diverse data which will permit great analysis for the future. Moving on to my literature review, I have chosen 3 topics to focus on, which are economic effect, environmental effect, and social effect. The first study I have chosen for economic effect is from Dunn and McGurrick. They show the impacts of the Olympic Games on its host city are similar to the impacts of the globalization process. They discuss the analogies between the Olympics as a hallmark event and the local impacts of economic globalization. Horn in 2000 reports on the success of an economic development plan for a small city in Canada, which moved from a minimal tourist destination to a location attracting visitors from Europe after they held the Winter Olympics. Chalip and Lanes in 2002 focused on the potential for local businesses whilst a hallmark event is going on in their area. 4 studies that they report focus on the status and potentials for the local business to leverage the Gold Coast Honda Indy. Moving on to the environmental effects. Ceriso Estevi and others focus on the positive and negative environmental effects. It's a systematic review following the steps proposed by the PRISMA protocol that outline the positive and negative effects of the environment after a hallmark event and outline what major events are trying to do to decrease the negative effects. Ouyang and others focus on the local residents' perceptions and attitudes relevant to an event over time, as well as the temporal effects in the impacts of the factors examined in the study on the residents' ultimate support towards the event. Now onto the social effect. Hall 1993 highlights the social issues that come from planning dimensions and poor management. Therefore, this study will be great for me to focus on the social effects. Hall in 1989 highlights that there is a major methodological weakness of hall events, and little attention is being paid to the social impacts of such events. Therefore, goes into depth on their research about them. Moving on to my methodology. I will be taking a mixed method approach because the fundamental advantage of conducting mixed method research is that you can use both qualitative and quantitative data. This method lets you use the strength of one data type to compare with the weakness of another one. To gather my data, I will use semi-structured interviews and surveys because semi-structured interviews come with many advantages. Semi-structured interviews are often considered the best of both worlds. Combining elements of structured and unstructured interviews gives semi-structured interviews the advantage of both comparable, reliable data and the flexibility to ask follow-up questions. I will be working at the Touch Rugby World Cup in July. Therefore, I will interview the locals covering their opinions and experiences they have had in the past from living in the community after a hallmark event, and especially the one in July that is in Nottingham, where I live. There is estimated to be 5,000 people attending the event across a 7-day period. Therefore, lots of opportunity to gather data to ensure my sample size is big enough to hold statistical power. I will then use many data processing tools displaying my findings in my dissertation. Thank you for listening to my presentation.